Forget it.
The FLAMECAST!
Okay, we're recording now. Welcome, friends, to FLAMECAST #1.
Hello. Hello and welcome.
Maiden voyage.
FLAMECAST, here we go.
Yeah, hey, Windy, how's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
Good, sir. Yeah, WINDYBEARDGAMES, and I am Tobor Prime.
Hello.
Yeah, we decided it would be a good idea to talk about garbage and also our own games that we're working on.
Pretty much. So you're working on Savage Shards of Gosen.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Powerful
Battle
name,
Hand.
Powerful game.
The Scream of Jarl Hothep.
So yeah, I had the pleasure of playing it for several hours, and it is mind-blowingly good.
You're a brave man.
Well, I enjoyed it, man. It was really good.
Really,
really
thanks.
Good. Yeah. So what's so why are you making it?
Why?
Yeah. What made you want to make a Savage?
That's a good question. That's a loaded question. Like a gun.
Why'd you bother? Why'd you do it?
Well, I mean, I grew up watching stuff like Conan the Barbarian,
Nice.
playing games like Hero Quest, which if you look at the box, it's got a big old buff, burly barbarian man swinging a sword around, kind of like Conan.
Glorious, powerful hair as well.
Yeah, just flowing locks.
Oh, just
Nary a
majestic.
split end to be seen.
Does he use Timothée?
Pantin Pro V.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and being infatuated with stuff like Nintendo, the original NES growing up, and just I was just a huge nerd. I still am too. I mean, we're recording ourselves talking about video games on the internet, so you can't really.
That's a very good point. Well made, Tobor.
Yeah. Can't get too much nerdier than that. But yeah, just having an infatuation with that stuff, and then I always wanted to play a good, solid barbarian action adventure game with good controls and things like that. And you play games on the NES like Wizards and Warriors, for example. You look at the box art; it's got a really cool, moody, atmospheric, bloodthirsty looking cover, and then you put it in your console and you're a trash can with a sword, and it's like this isn't quite what I was.
We need skulls and flame.
Yeah,
That's what we
exactly,
need.
and blood and glory.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and that's the short version, and yeah, like loving games like Zelda 2, apparently one of the worst ones.
Yeah,
Mechanically speaking,
Yeah, I played some other games with a similar vibe. I can't even remember the names of them. With the whole, the world map and then the 2D platforming areas.
Yeah,
Back in the day, I can. What can I think of? There's one called Golvelius. I don't know if you ever played Golvelius.
Yes. Yeah, that's a recent one for me. Like,
that's a glorious game.
I just recently got a maybe last year at some point. I bought a Sega Master System off somebody on Twitch.
Nice.
And that's a favorite on there, which I still need to pick up myself. But I have tried Golvelius, and I was enchanted.
I think it was Sega's answer to Zelda, or they were having.
Yeah, they were trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's better in many ways. To be honest, great game, absolutely great game.
There's a lot of Zelda games I don't like very much, personally.
There are a lot. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, 1 and 2 I love. I do love 1 and 2.
Yeah, which ones don't you like?
All the rest. No. I wasn't. I actually wasn't too keen on the Super Nintendo one.
Really?
A Link to the Past. Yeah. FLAMECAST.
Brave. Yeah. Screw you. Yeah, we don't. It was. I really enjoyed it. I really did. One of the things I really liked about it is every square inch of it seems to be hand designed for that area. Like every time, I specifically was like, "Wow, this is impressive." Every time you go into a room where you can save and drink from the goblet,
yes.
Every room is different. Everything in it is different. Like, you're insane. Like, everything on the table is different. Like, it's madness. It's so good. Very rich.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I tried really hard to tell many visual stories.
It's great
with the little room. It's like, oh, here's where they torture prisoners, and here's where some guy probably died because a rock fell on his head, or just stuff like that. And I think I got kind of what's that?
I got that from playing it. That's
good.
That's what I got. Everything
Thank you.
Seemed like it had a purpose. It was really good.
This is probably what happens when you take over 6 years to finish a video game. But there's a ton of even indie games too. Like there's a ton of them that you kind of just like get bored a little bit after a while with them. Platformers specifically, where it's like that's all they're trying to do is just kind of bank on the platformerness of platformers. And then it's like, okay, but I've done this a million times before. You got anything else to dig your hooks into me?
Yeah, no, I get that because it's such an old genre now, isn't it? It's so set. Yeah, you get some things that come up every now and then that turn it on its head a little bit, but I do find that
we take it for granted.
I find it hard to get to the very end of a platformer nowadays. Before I start thinking, oh, okay, I've just got the double jump skill. That's great. I'll unlock that.
Look at me, I can jump twice.
Yeah. What's that? New skill? I can climb a rope.
Yeah. And I mean, Savage does have that stuff in there too, like it's...
Yeah, but in a good way. You start with all the necessary skills and then you get all the decent armor and weapons and stuff. I really enjoyed I wasn't expecting it when it threw the whole throwing a dagger into the wood.
Oh, yeah.
Quack shot style, Yeah,
quack shot is that's the thing I had in my brain. Not many people pick up on that on quack shot.
Yeah. Oh, quack shot. Yeah, I'll pick up on that. But it's the way it hits stuff in the background as well, the wood, wasn't it?
Yeah, there are background wood stuff that was kind of tricky to design because
I bet it was.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you want to throw a dagger and you don't, it's and to try to keep it in the player's mind that there's a way to do it. So I don't think I've really done it well, but it's in there.
I have no issues with it. I got it straight away. Okay. I was like, well, what's this then? And I went, wow, that's cool. I like that.
Well, that's good news.
Opened up loads of the game, loads of areas and stuff. I thought it was really good. Nice. Another thing I thought was amazing is the levels of parallax. So the amount of background you've done. You know what I mean? Like there's like 6 tiers. It goes back and everything's moving and it was awesome. And then you've got the smoke at the top, of like a burning village, but that's in like 8 layers of smoke and it's all moving. And I was like, whoa, look at this. Rich. Yeah. The calories, the visual calories.
Drink it in.
So opulent. Yeah.
Neutralize yourself.
Yeah. I felt like a sultan when I was playing it. That's how good it was. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to make a note of that. For the back of the box. Windy Beard Games. I felt like a sultan.
I did. It was so decadent. I enjoyed it.
Well, really that does me good to hear, man.
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm lost at the bottom of some huge forest. That's where I'm trying to. There's wasps everywhere. I'm trying to get out of there, but it's good. And I got some orb. I've got to figure out what to do with that. From some fort, I killed everything and then went through and got an orb.
Oh yeah, that's bringing up Zelda again. That's basically your piece of heart. You get 3 of those, and then you get an extra wound token or a heart, basically.
Yeah,
the little red skull.
I get the impression that I'm very, very early on still, even though I've sunk a good 2 or 3 hours in.
If you're in a forest. Oh, did you go to did you go to the cairns of Magdra?
Which ones? Which?
There's a fort to the north.
Yes.
Did you go through that?
Yeah, I went through that, did that,
okay.
And then went out the top, round the rocks.
Okay, and did you fight the bear people?
Yeah, and I killed the boss with the bear man.
Okay, and that's where the orb was that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's it, okay. Yeah. And I got some massive sword that I'm swinging
Excellent.
about now. Kills everything, it's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, great game. Nice. So when's the date? When's it out? Got to ask the question.
2017. Come hell or high water.
Yeah, it shall be done.
Yeah. No, I see. The thing is, like, for the last last year or so, it's always been a kind of a, I got 3 months and I'm good. 3 months, 4 months tops, 6 months max. And then and I keep telling myself that as time marches on. I do feel like that right now. That I also think that that's a little bit of a survival mechanism that my brain is doing to me. It's like, just let him think he only has 3 months. Otherwise, he'll break. You know?
Yeah. It will crack and crumble.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm getting there. What you played up to is probably about half of what is in the current build right now.
Okay.
So there's another... I don't know. I want to say like 33% more that needs to be added. Mostly it's levels. The game just needs levels and it needs places to go. Because I wound up making a overly large world map. Like there's a desert area and there's a snowy mountain area and there's a swamp and crap like that. And I'm just like, I have to fill it with stuff.
Or cut. Is that word? You can always cut. I had I was in Dreamstones. I cut an entire area that was planned.
Yeah,
but you don't have to. So it's always an idea though.
That would be the smart thing to do. Yes, I do.
You're not holding stuff back. That game is serious business, in my opinion. Especially if you've got loads more than what I've already played. Yeah,
there's you. I don't think you have fought 8 of the bosses.
Well, there you go. 8.
Yeah, and they're all done. Like most, the final boss still needs to be done, but all the rest of them are in there.
Yeah, the boss was good though. I enjoyed that. That was good. He was well designed. I like the look of him. Another thing I
probably
thought was
fought
awesome
the raptor spitting boss too, huh?
Oh yeah, I killed him. Yeah, smashed him up. Yeah, no problems.
Well done.
He fell to the blade. he did. But I liked. There was another thing I wasn't expecting as well. When you there's puzzles where you cut the ropes with the daggers. That I wasn't expecting that. When that come up, I was like, "What's going on here? How do I do it?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me try chucking a dagger at that." Slice. And down it went.
And dice.
Yeah, exactly. Down it went. Yeah, it was good.
Well done.
It was really good. I enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed it. I'll play more.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
I think it's going to do well.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it stays that way up until the end, the bitter end.
Of course it will. Of course it will. A crescendo of Gosen.
Yes.
Something to behold. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I got to play your recent game that you
RagTag
just launched like a month ago? Maybe
just over, I think. Maybe 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, RagTag, which I have to say I want RagTag figurines.
Oh yeah.
It's that kind of game that feels like tactile, like you can reach in and grab the art and as long as you have its consent.
Yeah, that was always part of sort of the dream. You always spin the dream of what your game's going to be, and I was like, yeah, you could make a great physical edition of RagTag, and have these figurines and stuff. It's kind of based. Hang on, it's kind of based off that idea. So the game itself was formulated from the actual core concept of what it is. The whole drag, release, ping the figurine across the board. That was what the game come from, and then everything else was built around that. So the theme was. Started off obviously with like a sci-fi theme was the idea, but then I wanted to sort of draw in on the 90s cartoon sort of 90s figurines idea, with the
extreme
characters, and stuff like that. Like you start off with your basic characters, which is like a brute with a pipe. You end up getting the ostrich,
purple mohawk, so he means business.
Yeah, exactly. He's screaming. He's angry. He's ready for battle.
Yeah.
You can see straight away. But it brings in so that one of the hardest parts of it is to try and come up with decent abilities that weren't ridiculous to make. There was at the beginning there was ideas like you fire this character and it moves in an arc shape around the units and stuff like that. And then when you actually go to make that, you think, okay, how's that actually physically possible? I'm not that sort of programmer. So you got things like the explosions and projectiles and things like that, which worked out just as well, and it's hard to make them so that they play nice, So the shifter, for example, she was a really difficult unit to make. Where you fire the shifter unit, she will travel through her own teammates, and also get a speed boost when she does, which means you can set up some really interesting sort of trick shots and things like that.
Yeah, if you can exploit that particular mechanic, it feels really good.
Yeah, so that was difficult. It was a real challenge for me, that game, compared to what I've made before, especially because I had taken two things I'd never really worked with before. If anyone's played any of my games, it's a physics engine, so it's the first game I've really used physics in. I usually don't make games that require it.
Is it built in a built-in physics engine, like an actual?
Yeah, so I use ClickTeam Fusion to make my games, and there's a physics engine, Box 2D, inside Fusion that you can use.
I was going to say Box 2D, like if it has something like that, but I guess it's literally that, huh?
Yeah, but the trick of that was the difficulty came in where the physics engine is fantastic if you're doing something like Angry Birds, which uses physics, but the pieces in RagTag are never falling. They never fall. So a physics engine is always trying to apply gravity to your pieces. So you have to. Yeah, it was a nightmare, but it turned out good. I'm really quite pleased with it.
Oh, it feels great.
Yeah, you like that?
It feels great to play, and the atmosphere too that you've communicated. It really nails the chaos of a skirmish between what those characters would look like. Like ostriches like with missiles mounted on them versus weird sea men with laser beams coming out of them. It feels like you in my brain, in my imagination, if with these two sides duking it out, I see people like flying through the air and getting a bomb going off in somebody's hand and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the idea was to try and make it strategic, but at the same time, chaos can just destroy your strategy. So there's not a lot of random in it. A lot of it comes down to knowing the rules, but at the same time, an explosion here can set off an explosion there, which can just completely change the board, and you don't know what's happening. And then you got later on in the game, reinforcements start dropping in. So, and I spent a lot of time figuring out how I was going to do it. I wanted it to be completely a surprise. So when the player plays it, when they go, well, what the hell's going on now? And all of a sudden, a load of enemy units show up, and you think, whoa, okay, so I was expecting this to be, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy mission. And then all of a sudden, it isn't so easy, and that was the idea.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Well, when that happened to me the first time, too, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Because I was already terrified of what was happening.
Yeah. I think I personally, as a designer, I like to mess with a player. I sometimes have to think to myself, why am I doing this? Like, I sometimes think, oh yeah, that'll really screw them up.
You're in the perfect position to do so.
Well, yeah, I suppose. There's this big push, isn't there? There's a big push for everything to be sort of hyper casual now, which I find quite unpalatable personally. I think I like to play what a designer has laid out for me. It's like going into a restaurant and saying to Gordon Ramsay, can you make me scrambled eggs on toast? You go into his restaurant to eat his food. Same with games, really. I'm not putting designers on a pedestal by any means, but sometimes you've got to just let people get on with it and then play what it is they've made.
Yeah. Well, doing the super duper handholdy thing, I think, takes away what makes games special in the first place.
Yeah.
I agree. Instead of just giving the player a bunch of tools and telling them how to use them and stuff, but then be like, okay, go nuts, man. This is you now. This is your story.
Yeah.
Instead, you got this look what I did, everybody. Look at this exquisite cutscene that I have created from these two hands. Don't miss it. I don't want you to miss it. There's two competing philosophies, I think, and it's you wind up with one or the other.
Well, it's a tricky balance, isn't it? It's a tricky balance, and I've missed that mark a few times.
Well, I mean, you want people to look at what you did, so to speak.
Yeah, but same with the challenge. Like I think RagTag is. I don't think it's a hard game, to be honest. I don't think it's difficult. I think it's difficult if you try and achieve everything it has to offer. So to unlock all the medals, with a par, because every mission's has a par, like a golf game.
Yeah, the par thing can be quite challenging to hit, but the right kind, though, I think, if you really, really get comfortable with the game, because you can kind of. What I did for a few levels, absolutely, was kind of brute force my way through certain scenarios and stuff, and I won, but I was well over par,
Well, that's where the challenge comes in, because I think anyone with any play it through, enjoy the story and the campaign and get to the end. I don't think it stops that. But if you want to push for the medals and things like that, then the difficulty ramps up towards the end of the campaign, and I think that's good. I personally think that's good,
Yeah, well, it's a game, so there should be. I mean, there's a win state and a lose state, and a good game will ramp it up and apply pressure, and then when you get through the pressure, you get that release, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I deserve that. I earned that. Yeah, and I like that. I like that in games. I don't like games that are super frustrating personally, but I think that's I think it's a decent design decision, to challenge your gamers and your players and things. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. It all depends on the intent. I think. I mean, for me personally, I want something that'll make me sweat a little.
Well, I think with Ghosten as well. I died quite a few times trying to do certain things, and I had to rethink. I thought to myself, right, well, I'm going to have to go back somewhere easier, level up a couple of times. So I did that, and then I could get a better sword. Then I went and saved, and then went in and managed it. But the first time I went in the fort, for example, I got obliterated. And I went out and went and got some food and stuff, so I had some health. And I think that's good. I think it adds to the game.
Yeah.
I think if you could have just flown through there, it would have been like, oh, that was fun. But
it wouldn't really necessarily made you engaged in the rest of it.
Yeah,
it's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. So it was. I enjoyed it, and with RagTag, that's out now. So if you don't want to check it out, it's on Steam.
I gotta say, the production values too, I was very impressed with.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cutscenes and stuff, and the delivery of the lines and everything, and just like your artwork, I really like anyway. So
nice. Well, I put a lot into it. I put a hell of a lot into it. And I'd never done cutscenes before. That was another thing. I'd never done cutscenes. So
okay, yeah, they came out perfect.
Cutscenes. Well, I don't know about perfect, but
I mean, for what they were trying to do, they weren't like, okay, skip.
Yeah,
they were fun to listen to and fun to. I mean, they're very short and
that was for two reasons. One, so that I actually got them done, and two, so that they are snappy. They give the information, the story's told, move on.
They got punch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like being punched in the eyes.
RagTag out now.
Yeah, a RagTag. Get it now. It's like being punched in the face. But in a good way. Yeah. So, that's done. And now I'm on GO2. So that's what I'm doing now.
How's that going?
GO. It's still... Yeah,
there's not enough blue spark in the world.
Yeah, there's not enough Tesco's Blue Spark at the moment. But it's going all right.
Yeah, you got to get the full name in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tesco's Blue Spark available now.
Checks in the mail.
Tesco's Blue Spark.
Yeah.
I think
there it is.
I've come across some issues really. I was chasing RNGesus a little too far. I think I was trying to get too much random in the game. I was making some mistakes. I was going down the wrong. So literally last couple of days, I've decided to redesign about 60% of what I've already done. So that's a bit of a kick in the box, but I'm only a couple of months in, so it's not a problem really. And I remember with GO1, I actually did this 2 or 3 times. It completely changed what it was. So I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a big game, but it's going to be it's still a long way off.
Yeah, I got to play the first GO.
Oh yeah, you're in for a treat, a real treat. It's
the more I look at it, I'm like, there's some cool stuff going on in here.
Yeah,
I think almost like Civilization-y on a small scale.
Yeah, I think of all the games I've made, it's the type of game that I want to make more of. I think.
Okay.
Of all the games I've made, I'm happy with all the games I've made, but I think GO, there's something about it. I like the loop of it. I like the way it plays. I like the idea of it. So I'm going to double down on that and just make a much, much, much better game than the first, and see how it goes. But it's probably a 6 to 9 month from now, until it's anywhere near finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see if Savage is out before then.
Yeah, we'll be having another one of these when I've got GO2. I was like, how's Savage yet? Yeah.
3 to 4 months.
3 months. Yeah.
I'm feeling it. I think this is it.
Yeah, well, mate, it'll come out, and when it does, the world is not ready. for the savage shards
just
of Ghosts.
Tens of players.
Yeah, literally. Same as me, mate. Met tens of fans queuing up. You know what I mean? Literally tens of people screaming. Go, son!
Yeah. You can hear each individual one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's Jim. I heard Jim. There, yeah.
No, I'm sure it's going to do really well, mate. I'm sure it's going to do really, really well. You know?
Well, fingers crossed, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm excited I'm just excited to get to where like you are, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Games under your belt, and just rocking and rolling away on the next project. And you also do like smaller bite-sized projects too on like your Patreon and stuff, and that kind of fascinated me. I was like, I want to do that too. I want to make these little bite-sized, you know, arcade experiences.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy it. It's like a development sorbet. You know, it just cleanses the palate.
Yeah, scratch a few itches and like low pressure. You know, no.
Yeah, and you can, you know, once you make one of these little games and put it out, and however many people enjoy it, it's a bit of fun, and then you just forget about it. It's done, you know. Yeah. But it sort of takes the pressure off, because it's hard, isn't it, making games, to be honest, when especially like we discussed this before. I
wouldn't know. I haven't made one yet.
Well, I'd say you have, but like 60 to 70% of making games is drawing rocks.
Yes.
We discussed it. It's like you don't realize just how much rock you have to draw, and by rock I'm talking about ground or mud or whatever.
Literal rocks.
Yeah, rocks. You're just drawing rocks for weeks on end. Weeks on end. So
and you always need. You can't just copy paste the same one over and over, because then it's
no, it's not good enough.
Yeah, you need rocks. You need tiny shrubs and bushes and crap like that. Yeah. God, that's most of it, honestly. And I think that's where I think that's where a lot of my burnout comes from, is because like I get paralyzed from not knowing what new rock to draw. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, more rocks. Yeah, go.
Just staring at the screen like, what's this one shaped like now?
Is this one grey, or is this one slightly darker grey, or is this one slightly lighter grey?
Yeah, does this one have an edge highlight, or does this one have a...
Yeah. So to make tiny little games, just a little fun thing here and there, it's good for you, but
which
it's also
have rocks probably too.
As well. They get to try them out and go, oh, look at this weird thing.
Yeah,
see, as you know...
I'd imagine you as a developer too get to experiment with concepts that you probably wouldn't have given a second thought to, you know? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, these little games and stuff can give you little ideas for a bigger project, you know, that will get slapped in there, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think's a good thing.
Egg Jam,
yeah. Egg Jam 2 coming up 2 weeks time.
Cool. I may be tempted to participate in this next one.
Oh, yeah. Egg Jam. It's a 4-hour game jam for anyone who wonders what we're talking about.
Never mind. Good luck.
Sorry?
Never mind. Good luck.
Right.
4 hours.
Well, 4 hours is like a thing to say, don't spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Just make something ridiculous and as fast as you can.
Okay.
Bang.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing I can do in 4 hours? Go.
Well, that's it. Essentially, yeah. And then you can laugh at how bad and how ridiculous this 4-hour mess is. That's the point. Yeah.
Okay.
You know? I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
No, that's fantastic. Okay. I didn't look at it from that perspective before, but now I'm like, Egg Jam.
Yeah, Egg Jam. Coming soon. So, yeah. Right, so that's my current situation. And that's Ghosten.
Yeah. RagTag versus Ghosten, match of the century.
Oh yeah, fight to the very death.
Yeah. So we can also talk about. We wanted to talk about the goings on, the comings and goings within and around the gaming industry and outrage culture, and this is after all the FLAMECAST.
Yes, brothers of the flame.
Yeah,
as we are. Yeah.
And like people have, I mean, this is kind of appropriate too, because you touched on it quite a bit with the hand-holding versus challenge.
Yes.
And,
it's a good conversation to have.
Mm-hmm. People talking about why Sekiro needs an easy mode, or as I recorded a video on this too, and it's kind of ranty. I didn't put it up yet, but
Oh, okay.
Coming soon. On this specific thing, just because it was kind of rattling around my brain case, and we had talked about it a little bit too.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
But people, professionals in the industry, game journalists, whatever, wanting an easy mode in Sekiro, but I'd probably say more like demanding.
Well, it seems like demanding. From what I've seen, it's quite appalling, really. I think it's been quite bad.
There's some stuff about it that's pretty disgusting, to be honest.
It boggles the mind. It really does, right? So as I explained earlier when we was chatting, I don't like frustrating games personally. I don't like to be frustrated by a video game. I never really have. Maybe when I was younger, but now I don't have the time. And that's why I've not played the game. Right? I've not played Sekiro or whatever you call it. Right? Sekiro. I've not played it. I've not played it, but it looks fantastic, right? And I probably would enjoy it, but I don't like the idea of fighting a boss 10, 20 times to beat it, right? It doesn't get me going. But I don't think that's a problem. I think that I can appreciate what it looks like and what I've seen of it, but it's not the game for me. And I think that's where it falls in my mind, that not everything, I think people think they're a lot more important than they are. You know, not everything is for them. You know, it's fine. That's fine. Move on, play something else. You know, I've been playing Yoshi's Crafted Island or whatever it's called. Right? And that game you can literally play with your eyes closed with both your hands tied behind your back and probably still beat it. Right? And I've enjoyed it. And I've thought, this is a bit easy. You know, and that sort of got me. If it was a bit more challenging, I would have been happier. But I enjoyed it. You know, but if you like difficult games, then don't play Yoshi. You know, no one's screaming at Yoshi to have a hard mode.
Yeah, be more like Dark Souls, Yoshi.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes down to it, Dark Souls games aren't even that hard in comparison to some of the other things that are out there that have had no issues. You know,
certainly not like a lot of the things that I'm sure you and I grew up with.
Yeah. Oh Christ. Yeah, well, this is it. You know. When
and
you
guess
go
what?
back to some of those,
I used to just stop playing them when I got irritated.
Yeah, or break a control pad, whatever. You know, it's fine.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. However you get your get your rocks off.
Yeah, but I think I just don't get it. I think to demand it of a developer, right? I think Jim Sterling did an interesting video about it where. And I watched the video expecting him to be like, yeah, give us an easy mode, you know. But he was on that line that just if it's not for you, it's not for you. They don't have to add an easy mode. It's up to them what they do. If they want to add an easy mode, then thumbs up. It doesn't harm anyone, and I agree with that. If they want to add it. But I don't think if a developer hasn't done something, you should be kicking off and screaming that they should do it. You know, it is their game, their design. They know what they're doing.
And conflating the need for an easy mode with accessibility for disabled people.
Yeah, challenge is not accessibility.
My God.
Yeah.
That's the part that I'm fine with even having a conversation about, you know. It's like, I think I might like Sekiro a little more if it had difficulty options. Like, I'm fine with that opinion. Totally 100% fine, you know. Yeah, but when you say... like, but other people, you know, who don't have a left arm, what about them? And it's like, no, you're talking about yourself. You know. Well, it's and that's just gross. That's the gross part to me. That's just the where it gets embarrassing.
Yeah, my cynicism kicks in, and I start to see people who are offended on the behalf of people who probably aren't offended. You know,
right? Like, and it's like, no, you're just bad at your job, and you want an easier time.
Just relax and play games. It's video games, isn't it? Like, it's just video games.
It's a hobby, and there has never been anything more optional.
No, nothing is more optional than video games. Nothing is less important to civilization than video games, right? And I'm a game developer trying to make a living selling games.
I made the same point in the video too, where I'm like, this is the most fucking stupid.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's insane. It is
and I love this hobby. You know, I love it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when shit hits the fan, this is like the last thing that anyone should care about. You know. Yeah. Or get angry. When or if, like, you know,
just relax. Yeah. Especially like, I always think that an interesting thing to throw in the works there is something like Super Meat Boy, right? Super Meat Boy is on a pedestal, like an indie pedestal, right? That
Yeah.
game is hard as nails at the top end. Really, really hard, like unfairly difficult. Like the designers were laughing at how difficult they made some of those levels, right?
Right.
And very few people have got through it. But was what made it amazing. Same as Cuphead.
Part of its
people
identity.
scream about how good Cuphead is because of the challenge. It's a difficult game that's well designed. The art is absolutely mind blowing.
Right.
But no one's upset about that. You know?
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, the Cuphead thing was funny. Yeah, the only real thing, like, as far as this goes, that came out around Cuphead was I'm sure you've seen the video of the guy playing the tutorial.
Oh, done, yeah.
The journalist, and just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't
Never
have
mind getting
like
to a hard
play
part
video
and quitting.
games. Yeah. Well, most mainstream journalism is activism now, anyway, in my opinion. It's all agenda and purpose, and there's very little about the game, sadly.
Yes, yeah. And there's some good stuff out there, but most of it to me is just a dumpster fire anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I think you also struggle. I think a lot of these outlets struggle with the fact of, it's like even with video games. Again, there's so much content online. There's so much content online that unless it's commercial, it's not getting any real visibility. So if you're a news outlet, games journalist, what are you going to do? You're going to do something that's going to get eyeballs. You know.
yeah.
That's what you do.
And they're already fighting their demise.
Yeah.
In the wake of the people on YouTube and and Twitch streamers and stuff like that, where it's like,
Yep.
good luck. So no wonder, like, they're going to do what works.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're gonna write up inflammatory stuff and get people riled up, and like, it's like, I'm gonna go to Kotaku and write a comment to let them know what I think. It's like, well, they got your click, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think on YouTube an upvote.
Uh-oh, Mayday. Can't hear
What's the
you.
matter? You can't hear me. Hello.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you cut out, and you were talking about. You said you think on YouTube an upvote is.
I think an upvote and a downvote mean the same thing to the algorithm.
Yeah, engagement.
Yeah, it doesn't
all
matter which
under
one you
engagement.
click.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting world where if you like it or don't like it, it doesn't matter. Like that is interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah, it gets put in front of more people's faces.
Yeah. As long as you give enough of a damn to say whether you love it or hate it, then it matters. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you played it. What do you think? Sekiro?
I love it.
Yeah.
I am also a fan of the Soulsborne series, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, etc. And going as far back as Kingsfield too. They're super chunky, offensively old dungeon crawlers, which are interesting to play too from a historical perspective, just to see like what kind of philosophy carried on throughout the entire, as they were making fantasy hack and slash games. It's like, oh shit, you play Kingsfield and you still have you still got to manage like a stamina bar and stuff, and like that was 1995 or 94 or whatever.
They've just been working that.
They've just been chipping away at that thing. Yeah,
smart. It is smart.
But Sekiro is, I think even if you don't like the Souls games, you'd probably I could see somebody getting into Sekiro because you can tell it. I mean, it's made on the same tech. It's made with a lot of the same atmosphere, and
it looks amazing. I watched you play it on Twitch. It does look really, really. I think I would even enjoy it.
Yeah,
I think it just boils down to if it's
the sense of movement. I think would probably sell you.
Oh yeah.
More, yeah, like just being able to grapple hook around, and like the stealth is nice and fluid. Which stealth games tend to bug me sometimes, where it's like,
I don't like stealth games too much.
This one though feels great.
Yeah,
somehow.
Okay.
And I'm not a huge stealth guy either, but I mean I liked Tenchu. Like I loved Tenchu growing up.
Yeah, I liked Tenchu. I was about to say that. Yeah.
If you like Tenchu, you'd love Sekiro, because even the boss fights kind of feel a little bit like Tenchu a little.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My money.
My money. Come on. What? Who are you?
What a game. Yeah, it was It was good. It was good.
All right, that's the podcast, everybody. I'm going to go play Tenchu now.
Yeah, off he goes. Off he goes.
Yeah.
But it looks good. It looks good. I think my issue is right. If I've got 50 quid to spend on a game for anyone, 50 UK pounds sterling, let's make that clearer.
Yeah.
If I've got 50 pounds to spend on a game, I'm going to pick a game that's going to suit me. You know, I don't buy every game that comes out. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe some people are doing that and getting upset that every single game
I would
is
be
not for them.
overloaded and angry.
Yeah, I can't. I think if I've got more than a couple of new games to play, I don't play because I just sort of spiral in panic about which one to play. You know.
Yeah, paralyzed with indecision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one's great, but then this one's great as well. What do? You know. So I just play
And you know
games.
what? I can totally see the perspective of somebody who has to play Sekiro for their job.
Yeah.
And being like, God, what the hell is this? I can't beat this.
Yeah, I can imagine that, and that can.
And you have to write a paper on it tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's not good. That's not good. I think I think my opinion of it all boils down to if they want to add it, then good for them. You know, enjoy it. If they don't want to add it, shut up. You know,
right?
Just you can express your opinion, but that's it. Just leave it at an opinion, saying, "Oh, this game would be great with."
Yeah, and here's the thing too that people could try is being polite.
Yeah, exactly. Ask nicely.
Not Sekiro doesn't respect it. You know, being accusatory.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Sekiro from software hates disabled people.
Exactly. Yeah. Because the game is difficult, they hate disabled people. That's the sort of way it goes, isn't it? It's just,
yeah.
It's atrocious.
Yeah. Instead of, hey, your game looks interesting and I love the look. It's, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe putting some difficulty options in there because I'm not that great at these kind of games?
Yeah.
And
I
if
always
they're
say, I think people don't think that they've sat there and discussed this before this all came out. They would have sat there and go, are we going to put an easy mode in this game? Like they would have discussed this over and over again at some point. The difficulty would have been a huge part of the design decisions and all the meetings they have and where they're going to take it. And on every boss, is it too hard? Is it too easy? What is it we want to do with difficulty? Because it's a game of challenge. It's not a game about story. It's not a game about all these other things. It is about getting through the adventure and struggling to do so.
Incredibly intense sword fights is what
exactly
Sekiro is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of a part of this string of games. Their identity is in there. What I find fascinating about the Souls games and Sekiro and stuff. What's amazing about it is it actually does respect you enough to not treat you like a baby.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the game believes that you could do this more than you can probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a place for it. I think there's a place for that. I think
100%.
What people want is everything for everyone, right? And it's a fine thing to. Yeah. And I think, but the reality is, if everything was for everyone, then everything would be boring.
Yeah. Everybody is not everybody else.
Exactly. And then it's just, and then what is this easy mode? What is the easy mode? What constitutes what these people are screaming for?
Yeah.
What is it?
Here's the thing about Sekiro too, and the Souls games in general. When you play through the game for the first time, usually there's some sort of ritual you can perform mechanically in the game or something that makes the game objectively harder. Okay. Like it slaps some sort of thing, like enemies do more damage, but they drop better stuff, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you get through your first playthrough, you go on to New Game +1, +2, +3, and the game ramps up. Enemies have more hit points, they deal more damage, stuff like that. Sekiro has all that stuff in there. Who's to say that the very first new game, the baseline new game that you play, isn't easy mode already in Sekiro?
Exactly. Yeah. but from a design's perspective, that is the easy mode.
Precisely. And let's say, like you said too, like what exactly is the easy mode? You can lower the bar or whatever, okay, maybe less hit points for monsters or they deal less damage or something. You're still mechanically playing the same game. It's just maybe taking you less time to do it. There's less of a window for messing up or something in a fight. But there's always going to be somebody that can't still can't do it.
Of course.
You know,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with it. That's where it gets complicated, you know?
Yeah.
I think you just have to, like the term easy mode. What does that, that's the thing. What does it mean? What does like in back in the day when a game had a hard mode, right? That could have meant any number of things, right?
It's
like
game
Streets
to
of
game.
Rage. Yeah. Some games had harder levels, like the level designs would change back in the day. And things like Streets of Rage would just throw in more enemies.
Right.
So you'd have, that would be the challenge, would just be a more of a ruckus. You know what I mean? There's just more enemies all over the place. They didn't,
which means maybe more random crap can happen to you.
Exactly.
Too.
But they could have made it so that you die in one hit. That would have been a hard mode. You know, they could have made it easy mode that you're invincible. You can't take damage. But it's like, then what would be the point? But I get it. Right. You can still beat people up if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. But maybe you just want to look at the art in the game. I don't know.
Yeah. It all comes down to the design. But then if it's too hard, then watch it on Twitch. If you want to enjoy the game and it's too difficult, I did a load of just think, oh, that's an awesome looking game. I'd probably enjoy it, but you know, I don't get enough time to play games. And if I'm going to get the time to play games, I don't want to struggle through it. And that's, you know,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, just watch a video.
Yeah, just go and watch it. Just go and watch it. You know, you don't need to protest. You don't need to start a protest. You just enjoy what you enjoy and don't like what you don't like. Yeah,
you certainly don't need to get angry.
No.
Nasty about it.
Yeah.
Which is that's really the only thing that bothers me about it is the nastiness. It's like, hold on, can we calm down for a second?
I've seen it go further. It starts off with like, oh, Sekiro could use an easy mode. That would make it more fun. Sekiro could use an easy mode. That would make it more accessible. The developers of Sekiro don't like disabled people. The games industry in general does not like disabled people. That's the way the conversation goes.
Yeah, it's got to go scorched earth.
Yeah,
0 to 60.
Here's a good example. With GO1, for example, here we go. So this, I released that 3 years ago or something like that.
Good. Here's a in your backyard example.
Yeah, so the whole game uses mouse and left click, right? That's the whole game, right? So that's pretty accessible to some extent, right? It doesn't have all these colorblind modes and all these other things, but it's quite an easy game to play left click. And I got a message from someone, an email, basically saying that they're disabled and they find it hard to click so much, right? They really enjoy the game, but they're struggling to click so much. And then they gave me an idea of having like a click and hold mechanic and a reverse. So you click to stop and you let go to move the drill, right? So the game plays itself essentially until you tell it to stop. So I added that for them, but I never thought of it, you know, I never thought of that. But that's an accessibility option. Yeah. But the game was, you know, it wasn't designed not to be accessible. You know, that's
I'm all for accessibility options.
100%.
I feel like that's a completely different discussion.
Yeah, and they're being connected, and they're not connected at all. At all. The most difficult game in the world could be accessible to anyone. It doesn't mean it's playable by everyone. That's a very different thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and some of that gets kind of nuanced and weird too, because what you can do is you can make your game just totally, you know, remappable by anything, which Savage has in it. It's like you could play it with like a USB powered trombone, probably. Yeah. As long as it uses DirectX input or whatever, DirectX, sure. Yeah. Or foot pedals, you know, like if that registers as a, you know, whatever, like a keybind, go nuts. You do whatever. But what's hysterical about a lot of it? Have you seen the quadriplegic guy playing Sekiro?
I heard about it. I've not seen it. I've heard about it.
Yeah. He, I don't know whether or not he beat the game or not, but he took out one of the hardest bosses in the game with a standard Xbox controller, and he's quadriplegic.
That's accessibility. You know, the game is accessible.
Yeah.
You know, and I think at the top end, at the very top end of the industry, so the big hitters, you know, then they probably should start thinking about it. You know, accessibility, like it's a great thing to do. Yeah. At their level, you know, when you're talking about billions of dollars in profit a year, spending a bit more on it to make sure that everyone, regardless of their physical ability, can play it. Difficulty is not part of that, in my opinion.
And there's some goodwill to be made in there too. And but then there's also the perspective of like, well, does the developer have time to do this? do they have enough money to do the the R&D necessary to add like photosensitivity modes and like all this other stuff?
And I think the cold part of it is it is a business. It's like designing something for 0.0000% of your audience. How much can you put into that? And I think in the cruelty of reality, that's fact, isn't it? You can't hide from that.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's good to be aware of that stuff, and it's good. But ultimately, it's like,
and I'm sure they are.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's like on a you and me level, right? We're kind of making these games for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm not colorblind. I'm not X, Y, and Z. So it's like I'm not going to necessarily approach a thing that way unless I felt really passionate about specifically pursuing that type of work. But I'm generally kind of not right now. It's like I kind of want to make a cool barbarian game, and most people in the world, they're not blind. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, really, and I don't think there's ever going to be a right answer. I think that's what it boils down to.
What you got to do is you got to do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And be honest about it.
Yeah. Well, it's like lots of things, isn't it? I think it's also just a reality of your situation, Like I'm right-handed. I've known left-handed people. They struggle with so many things.
Yep.
They struggle with so many things because everything's designed for right hand generally. And a huge part of the population is left-handed. But you can get specific left-handed stuff by companies and things like that. But it's not like the things are designed to hold them back. Like, I think that's the problem. It's not being designed so that they can't use it.
Yeah. Nobody's specifically, throwing spite at anybody.
Yeah. It's back to that. You can't design everything for everyone because then everything becomes bad. Everything has to be specific to its purpose. And if you've got a game design, then it needs to be well designed. A badly designed game is not fun for anyone. And you can't design a game for absolutely everyone. You can try, but usually that means designing it for 11 to 16-year-olds, something like Fortnite,
Right,
that's not designed for everyone.
It's an impossible thing to do.
Yeah. So, there we go. That's that one done, isn't it? Sorted.
Yep. Stamped.
Problem solved. Yeah. Flame. Done.
If only everyone would put us in charge of everything.
Flame grilled, Tobor.
Yeah, grilled. There you go.
Damn straight.
Grilled. Next on the docket is I just showed you some of the content that's in Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh.
So this is a live one. This is brand new, hot and fresh.
I've not played it yet, and I have no interest in going anywhere near it.
Yeah, I haven't, and it's a shame because for me, I love Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I used to like Mortal Kombat, yeah.
I love the B movie cheese of it. I love the Kung Fu fantasy thing.
Yeah. The darkness of it's cool as well. Like the world it's set in is awesome. Yeah.
It's just fun. It's like it's stupid awesome ninja fun with people that throw fireballs at each other. And just like the general art and aesthetic of it is really cool to me. Yeah. It's very Big Trouble in Little China and Enter the Dragon kind of stuff.
Like ridiculous over the top. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, in a game where you can be a lizard man dressed as a ninja and eat your opponent's head, this is now the platform for being self-righteous on now.
It's crazy. Like if there was a place to try and make statements, Mortal Kombat's not the place. Mortal Kombat's not the place, isn't it? It's just crazy. Like, what was it I saw the other day that really made me laugh? Right? I don't really have a foot in the race at all. I don't care. I don't care what they do with the game. All these modern beat 'em ups are garbage anyway. They all just
ultimately, anybody can do whatever the hell they want, and it's
do what you want, say what you want, but it's just
be ready
hilarious.
For consequences, of course. But
I don't know what they're trying to achieve with this whole. What was it I saw that I was like I was shaking my head in dismay. It was the designer talking about the female characters in the game and how they're no longer cut and paste anime women with no clothes on, essentially, right? Because it's not a woman's not fit for battle in a bikini.
We don't have bathing suit fighters, and
that was it.
Because you're not going to be wearing a bikini when you're fighting for your life. Basically.
Yeah. And then underneath was a picture of all these dudes in loincloth, nothing else. You just think, what? If I was going to go into battle, I don't particularly want my cock and balls swinging. You know, I'm going to want a nice piece of armor. I'm going to want to be able to fight.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the funny part about this too is if you look at women's MMA, men's too, any combat sport, male or female, they're generally not wearing a lot, so nobody can grab parts of their clothes.
Yeah. It's insane.
And it's insane. Like, it's not like Mortal Kombat always used to be, titillating.
No, it never was.
Like erotic.
It never was. It's not
some of it got kind of racy.
Yeah.
In certain character designs and stuff, the women got pretty, like.
Oh yeah.
Voluptuous and.
The one with the fans. There was a woman with fans.
Katana, Yeah,
back in the day.
Katana and Melina and Jade all got pretty. Hyper sexy. Their costumes at one point their costumes started to look like what you would get at a Halloween store if you were going to be a sexy ninja.
Sexy ninja costume
for Halloween. But in Mortal Kombat 2 or 1, 2, 3, Sonya was the main female fighter in the first one and stuff. The only female fighter
in those.
She was wearing workout clothes.
Yeah.
She wasn't wearing
green yoga pants, didn't she?
Yeah, but she still looked good. And what's funny too is the woman that played Sonya in the originals. I mean, because they're digitized actors, right? I forget her name now, but she still looks like gorgeous.
Right.
And fit too. It's like you could have put her in it, but you didn't want to probably because she has big boobs.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's crazy. It's like it's a game in which this is a game in which as a character you could tear off the head of a woman, right? And then kick it into the audience. But as long as she's fully dressed, as long as she's got on a suitable attire,
Yeah, most of them it's like not an inch of flesh except for like their face and their eyes or whatever is exposed, and it's almost kind of uncomfortable looking to me. It's like, aren't you hot in that, or you just? I mean, you look at the dudes and they look great. I think one of the alternate costumes for Baraka, for example, his loincloth, the one I think you saw, he looked fucking badass. Like he's got his muscles and his athleticism, exposed, and it's like, okay, that guy, I don't want to fight him.
Yeah, he's going to do some damage. Yeah. I just think it's just crazy. I don't know why you would do it.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
For Mortal Kombat of all things.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. It's like
Mortal Kombat is the hill that we're going to die on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like making Grand Theft Auto politically correct.
Right.
It's just you can no longer mow down civilians and then get chased by the police and then see how long you can last. That's not part of the game.
Well, goodbye to 95% of your sales, I guess, then.
It'd be interesting to see what happens. But it's going to be chopped up. Like you said before we started that they put who was it?
Shao Kahn. Who was locked behind a pre-order.
He's a mainstay character since the beginning. Wasn't he in the first or was it the second one? He became the bad guy?
I don't know if he might have been referenced in the story for the first one, but he was the boss in the second one. He's the big buff dude with the skull mask and the Emperor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. You can't do this. What was it I was looking at the other day? Was it Dead or Alive 5? There's £1,000, so $1,500, $1,300 worth of DLC characters and outfits.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Dead or Alive. But Jesus Christ, yeah.
What? How did this happen? Like, I know microtransactions.
Yeah, this is a problem with fighting games in general. I think anymore.
But it's just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's terrible. It is absolutely disastrous.
That used to be one of the things that was the most fun about a fighting game to me was unlocking all the characters
and all the outfits. Check out this weird outfit I got for Sub-Zero or whatever.
Right. But now now you got to pay for them.
Who'd you used to play as anyway? Mortal Kombat.
I was a big fan of Sub-Zero.
I was a Sub-Zero man myself.
Really? No kidding. I was Sub-Zero like 2 years in a row for Halloween when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It was his ridiculous slide that did it for me. You know, when he goes down like that and just goes across the screen like that. Yeah, always.
Yeah, just
and then
spam
later
that.
on, he got that one where he jumped out the back of it. Oh no, what was it he did?
That's Scorpion.
That's Scorpion, but he had what was it? The last one I played, I can't remember. The one with the
the ice clone.
That was it, ice clone. Yeah, and you jump backwards and. Yes,
he leaves an ice him behind, and if somebody walks into it, they get
that used
What
to
was
really
fun too is when he freezes the ground. Freezes the ground. The guy goes. Whoa!
Yeah, it was good, but that was the start of it, wasn't it? Back then, that was the demise. I don't know how it's going to do. I bet it does better than ever, and we're just.
It's going to do fantastic, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably because they're selling £1,000 worth of DLC to a select few. That's probably why.
Yeah, right now to get a complete game, it's $100 right now, and that's assuming that you pre-ordered it so that you got that character.
See, I don't resent them for that. I resent them for cutting it up. But if they were to just say the game is $80, £80 or whatever, if they would just say that's the price of the game. Good for you. Do it, right?
Yeah.
If you don't want it, don't buy it. But to say it's $50 and then to cut out all the shit that matters,
and
then put a tenner on each one and say that they're optional, it drives me mad. I'd prefer to pay £100 for a game and know that the game is complete. You know, Nintendo still manage it.
It drives me crazy to think that there's shit missing from my game because I didn't pay enough. And it's the language that bothers me. Again, it's like a language thing. It's standard edition.
Yeah,
that is basically it's a high priced demo, I guess.
Yeah, it's just as ridiculous. Like I was saying, I'm playing Yoshi's Woolly Island or whatever they call it. It's got like 100 outfits to unlock in the game. All of them in the game, right? Every single one of them. They could have
imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. And you just sort of like, this is a breath of fresh air. And then you think, actually, no, it's not. It's not at all. This is what it's always been, and it's only recently.
Yeah.
You know, it's got more levels than I expected. I was expecting it to be half the size it is. I'm still playing through it, and there's still more levels to go. And every time, this is the one thing I've noticed with Nintendo. Every time you think you're done, they throw another world at you recently, which is crazy. You know, that's awesome. They're still doing it. Everyone else can still do it. I know Nintendo are first party, so they probably got money coming out of every orifice, But
isn't that funny, though? To go back to Sekiro for just a second, too. Sekiro's in the same arena there where it's like, oh my God, I just bought a video game by itself, played it start to finish, and that was it. It's a video game. There's no DLC. There's no microtransactions. There's... weird currency that you buy and then do a loot box thing or whatever. It's a game. Somebody made a video game, and I played it and I finished it.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you'll probably be happy in 6 months' time when they slap out DLC area or a new story or something.
I mean, as far as I know, there's no plan to do that. But but if they did do it, it's like, hey, the experience that I had was an honest one, so. Yeah, I'm much 100% more willing to buy that.
Yeah,
buy an expansion to it.
I'm the same. If a game is a game, then I'll pay for additional content as and when it comes. If I but I just can't stand this slice and dice mechanic that they put into everything. You know,
it's amazing.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
And all the weird different outlet exclusives. You know, it's like, if you buy it over here, you get this.
Yeah, I think you guys get it worse than us for that. We don't get that over here.
Really?
Yeah, we don't get this buy Doritos and a 6-pack of cola and get this hat. We don't get that stuff over here.
I'm coming over there and having some Blue Spark and enjoying some video games, I think. Because over here it's like, oh my god,
I've seen.
You've seen that stuff.
I have. Is it Ubisoft and Totino's? Is that
the pizza?
yeah. I always, whenever I see that, it makes me smile. Like I think back in the day, maybe we had some Pepsi ones, stupid Pepsi things. But I don't think it's not a thing that goes on over here. I don't even think you get store exclusives here either. You know?
That's the big thing one of the big things that irritates me is the store exclusive stuff. It's like you buy it at Walmart, you get an extra character. If you buy it at Target, you get an extra weapon. And you can't get a complete thing, anywhere.
Do you know who I blame for all this? The start of that, you can't get everything unless you buy multiple copies.
Ooh, who?
Pokemans. He did it. The Pokemon did it, didn't they?
You're right.
Back on the original Game Boy,
2 games.
You had to have 2 games, and they've done it ever since.
For only was it originally? It was only like 1 Pokemon discrepancy or something.
And then it got more and more and more.
Yeah.
So, you watch, because they've got that game coming out on the Switch. It's the perfect business model, isn't it? Why sell 1 game? We can sell 2 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
one thing though that I will say for that particular model that's interesting about it is, like, if you actually knew other kids and had friends, you could get all the Pokemon through trading.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah.
So that kind of promoted an interesting,
It wasn't overly aggressive or nasty. I don't think that's what. But I think that's where the idea stems from, that if you cut up your content, you can sell the entire thing more than once.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who would have bought 2 copies of the game every time it was released. It's very smart, I think.
Yeah. I remember on the back of the box for G.I. Joes, they had a similar... It's like, it's a great idea to buy 3 of every G.I. Joe, because you have 1 to play with, you have 1 to keep safe in its packaging,
of course,
and you have 1 to trade to your friends with. I was like, Mom!
But it's good business. They're doing business.
Yeah, it sounded reasonable to me as a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I'm in 2 minds about it. I think as a consumer and as someone who enjoys video games, it drives me mad. It drives me mad. But at the same time, I appreciate that these are companies trying to make money. They don't give a damn.
No,
they don't give a damn.
And it's working.
Yeah, at the very top, they don't care. I imagine the lead designers and the people making the games care more than people give them credit for. Everyone seems to think they're just sort of like robots who just want to take your money. That's not coming from them. That's coming from right up the top.
No. Yeah. That's coming from the money men.
Yeah, and it makes
the guys who are funding the project and wanting a return on their investment, and or however the company is structured. But and
that's why the industry is as big as it is. It's because of that attitude. It can't. If it was never about money, it never would have gone anywhere. It's just become more and more about money. Hence, it's getting bigger and bigger, and more people are enjoying it. There's more people employed in it.
Right.
So swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
Yeah. More people getting fired.
Yeah, more people getting fired. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny thing too. Like all of the layoff outrage, where it's like, yeah, it sucks that people are losing their jobs, but you don't know what those people. You don't know what the structure of the company was necessarily like.
Yeah, I don't think it's as easy as some of these pundits make out. I don't think someone's just going, "Oh, just get rid of them all." No one's doing that.
Yeah, they smell.
Yeah.
Let them eat
We're
cake.
done with them. Cast them to the trash. No one's doing that.
Don't feed them scraps.
Yeah, and I think what was it? I think people don't often understand that these companies make a lot of money and employ a lot of people who also get good wage. They're not on minimum wage. People who work in AAA companies are nowhere near it. They're making good money, and it's not an easy industry. It's like any creative industry, any entertainment industry. Your job is never secure.
No,
like when was it?
Especially entertainment.
Yeah, what was it? Blizzard got a load of stick, didn't they, for letting go of their entire esports? Was it Blizzard?
Yeah, they fired like an office of QA people, esports, and like marketing people or something.
Like if you've taken a job in a AAA video game company in an esports department, do you think you're going to work there for 40 years?
Yeah,
really? No, that job is not secure at all.
And I gotta say, you're not a game developer either.
It's just
FLAMECAST.
We'll save that for another. You're a game developer. All of you.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. Like if you're not one or you are one, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a description.
We're not here to judge.
No. But you don't know what the people... And the thing too, like a lot of people think that the more devs there are, the better the thing will be. It's like maybe some of those are trash, lazy people who are just kind of coasting until 5 o'clock rolls around and they can punch out. And
maybe the amount of rocks they were designing wasn't up to speed.
Nobody likes Greg's rocks.
But I think some people get a raw deal and they get the sack. They get made redundant, and that's harsh. That's
absolutely.
Horrible, that's the way it goes.
But it's entertainment.
they're always changing and cutting and adding and
yes. And it's
again
it's entertainment. It's you can think about a game like almost like a movie where it's the makeup girl on Matrix 3 is not just now an employee of of Matrix 3 forever. It's
exactly.
the movie's done, the movie's over, and now we have to that director will go on to do different things. The PA will go on to do something else, and the assistant director will do or maybe never do it again because they don't want to. I don't know, but
who knows?
Yeah, a game.
I just don't know.
Yeah,
but I think we need to give them a little bit more. They don't sack people for no reason, and I'm not saying it's the fault of the people who were fired. I think it's the company and its future that's considered.
Right.
People are nothing to these companies, and that's just the way it is. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just the way it goes. Get another job.
Right.
In an industry that is more secure, become an accountant. If that's what you want, there's always
the company generally doesn't owe you anything but the money for your work.
Yeah. It would be nice if they didn't let you go. It would be nice, but this is not the way the world works. You can't force it that way. But I do think he's a bit greedy at the top, though. I kind of agree with that. I do think that they pat themselves on the back and cover themselves in gold a little too much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Nintendo, was the Nintendo dude, didn't he? He took a massive pay cut so he didn't have to sack people because the Wii U
what's his name? The
Iwata.
HAL Laboratory guy.
Yeah, the Iwata man.
Yes,
bless him, yeah. But see, that's honourable. I'll give him that. That's really good. But if he's sacrificing his wage to need it, then you have to question what the company's doing. Do you know what I mean?
And I think in a general sense too, CEOs are paid what they're paid because they could get cancer in a week from the stress.
Probably, I wouldn't want to do it.
No,
I would not want to do it.
It sounds like a terribly mean job. Like you're.
It's a hard job, yeah.
The whole thing is on you, and
yeah. It's like the Ubisoft dude, isn't it? What's his name? I can't even tell you his name, but just go with him.
Yeah, I can't
God knows
remember
how much he makes. Probably more millions than I'd ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that too is tied up in like things like options and stuff. It's not like
stocks and things. Yeah.
It's not like it's in his pocket.
Yeah. But he could make the mistake, and 10,000 people lose their job, and billions of dollars are lost, and it all goes horribly. Someone like him could destabilize the entire industry far more than it already is.
Accidentally usher in the apocalypse.
Yeah, he could. Someone at that level, But I wouldn't want to do the job. I wouldn't want to do it. I think people just think they sit around all day drinking champagne and eating soft cheese, which is not.
And what money they do make, they hoard it and never spend it.
No, I don't think that's the case.
They
employ lots of people. I'm not saying go CEOs, take as much as you can. I'm just saying
neither am I.
It's easy to go, it's not fair. They make more than me. It's all unfair, And I think that's the modern attitude, isn't it? I think that's a terrible attitude to have.
Mm-hmm.
Aim for the stars. If you make it to the moon, you've done well.
At this point, I'd settle for the mailroom downstairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's MK11, more or less. Whoa, and then there's the Jax ending too. That if you wanted to talk about that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Explain the Jax ending.
The wokitude there.
So yeah,
where Jax, the black character in Mortal Kombat 11, is now a caricature, thanks to his brand new. I think it's arcade mode. It's a version of arcade mode that's in the game where each character gets a little goofy ending at the end. And Jax says something like, with his winnings, he's now going to go back in time and prevent the African slave trade from ever happening, and turn them into like a kingdom in their own right or whatever. And what does he say? He says, "I'm not waiting centuries for everyone to get woke, so I'm just gonna do it myself." And he goes back in time with whatever Mortal Kombat magical power he now has. And
it's an honorable message, right? It's a good message, but
sure, the intention is, it's like, yeah, sure, we all want to go back in time and shoot Hitler in the face or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody wants any of that stuff to have happened or to happen or whatever, but it's
that's not the ending for a warrior who's just torn the heads and arms and legs off 60 people to get there. Like, that's not an ending for Mortal Kombat.
And it's not necessarily an ending for a good character. That's
like Scorpion, right? Getting to the end, right? He kills the last dude or the last woman. I don't want to start a war. And then at the end he goes, and then Scorpion wanted world peace. And everyone was happy. Yeah. And he's dancing around in a meadow with flowers.
Tucked all of the children into bed, read them a bedtime story.
Yeah,
righted all the wrongs. And it's like, that's not what... They turned Jax into something that's like, okay, this is what all black people must think about all the time is slavery. And just how they hate it.
It's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. And I've got to say, actually, after watching that, I'd never seen one. They look like absolute grade A shit. What the hell?
The artwork is terrible.
What the hell? It looks like someone's just gone, oh, quickly, get it done. And it's,
with shitty colored pencils or something.
Yeah, like I get, like I said to you, actually, if it was made by a team of 4, you'd be like, oh, these cutscenes are awesome. But this is made by, is it Midway still? I don't even know who make it anymore. Who makes it now?
NetherRealm Studios.
Was it Midway before?
It was always NetherRealm Studios, but it was published by
right, okay.
Midway and maybe not Acclaim, but Midway used to do it, and I can't remember. Interplay maybe at one point.
What low effort? Low effort. Even if they just animated the character models and used the stages, they could have done better than that.
Yeah, just used in-game assets. Even if they did, freeze frames of it.
Yeah,
it would have looked better.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
Oh, it looks terrible.
It just looks awkward.
But and just the message of it is so like, really, Mortal Kombat, really?
Yeah, I can't. Do you know what? I think if spreading all this messages, go nuts. But Mortal Kombat is not a place. I'm not saying, it's not a game to mess with. I don't care if you mess with it. I don't even.
Mortal Kombat has always been stupid and outrageous.
But it's stupidly violent. The whole game is about violence.
Yeah.
You can't use a game that's entirely about violence to push messages. It just doesn't make sense. It's just ridiculous.
You can, and you look like an idiot.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane.
What's funny about it is it's so like in their effort to virtue signal so hard, they've turned Jax into a blaxploitation character.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost insulting to the people they're trying to virtual signal to. Like it's almost gone full circle. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Like the virtual signal itself is almost insulting. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like
Jax
Mortal
is
Kombat
one of the
has
better character in it. He was mental, tearing people up and stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, and he was a kind of a stereotypical like patriotic dude. But and that's fine. He was like a G.I. Joe character or something.
Yeah.
But now he's like not that anymore, and he's like, only cares about getting woke. I can't.
It's such a shame.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat has never been well written either. It's always been schlock. It's always been.
It's a game about demons, and isn't it fighting for the demon realm or something? In hell or something like that.
But even that aside, like the actual like moment to moment dialogue stuff has always been like WWF tier drama.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. Well, the characters are ridiculous, aren't they? They're not. They're just stupid characters that have cool shit flying out of them. Yeah,
you're playing it to be a ninja that can, that's in a fantasy realm where everyone like knows kung fu and can shoot lightning from their fingertips, and that's why you're playing it.
Pop in, didn't it, at the bottom of the corner? What was it, Toasty or whatever you say? Yeah, exactly. What was that about? Awesome. Yeah, that's the game we're talking about here. We're not talking about being woke. We're talking about one of the designers pushing his head into the screen for a laugh when you uppercut someone to death.
That's the kind of game.
That's Mortal Kombat. That's like, oh Jesus, they're just chasing this dollar, aren't they? The woke dollar.
And it's that, and the philosophy behind it is just kind of whatever. And then all the microtransaction-y crap and the character design stuff. It's just like, I have zero interest in it, which again is a shame because I grew up loving the Mortal Kombat games, and and I liked Mortal Kombat 10 and 9.
What are we on now? What number is it?
11.
Jesus. I played... what was the one that came out with the Xbox One? when that came out. What number was that? Was that 9 or 10?
10, I think.
I think I played that one, and I thought it was pretty good. I think it was enjoyable. Yeah.
The visual tech behind it is gorgeous.
That was amazing. I remember the one with the rapids in the back.
Yeah, the waves.
Mind blowing.
And there's corpses in the water and all that stuff, and a ship, big old ghost ship, like yeah. All the stage and stuff. And it's not like Mortal Kombat 11 doesn't have like awesome artists working in it too.
Oh, I imagine it's amazing. Yeah.
Some of it is still pretty fantastic looking, like if not like some of the best that the industry has to offer, I think. But it's got all this extra bullshit on it.
Well, I think it's just it's a cynical attempt, isn't it? Because you can't make a game that's one, hyper aggressive and all about violence, right? Two,
and reveling in it.
Yeah, hyper monetized and predatory to the point of making people purchase multiple copies and endless DLCs, and then make out that you're some sort of global savior. And you know what I mean? It's like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like saying
we will give a voice to those who have none.
Yeah.
Also, by the Totino's Pizza edition.
Yeah, it's like going out there and punching people in the face, random strangers, saying it's okay to donate £5 a month to a charity, so I'm a good person. Like, no, it's ridiculous.
And there's a degree of it too in there where it's like, just tell the truth. Don't don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like, if this is the kind of stuff you want to put in there, because don't beat around the bush and like be like, oh, it's a brand new fresh take, and it's like, well, I care about social justice things, and I'm going to start to put them in my game.
Yeah,
like just say that, and you'd probably you'd inform people, but it's got to be this like sneaky language, and it's got to be.
But it's done in a way that's to say that if you don't like it, it's because you're not ready. You're not there yet. You're in the old. Yeah. This is the new world, and like no.
You're not where we are.
Yeah. I don't care what's in your game. I don't care. It's just a game.
Yeah.
I just wish all this shit would be left out of video games. And I don't think, like I was talking the other day about this stuff. Like I think I have this inkling that the next Zelda game from Nintendo, the next main one, Link will be female. I think I've got this, and I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be interesting because I'm so tired of the same thing over and over and over again in Zelda that I think it'll be interesting twist. Like if they would do something with that, where would they take it?
Well, and the Zelda series, to me, has always been more a vehicle just to have an action adventure game.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. It never has. But I think they'll do it. And it could be interesting if they had some, like, they had a character in Hyrule Warriors, Linkle. She was interesting. I think it was Linkle. I can't remember her name. But she had guns and shit. She was awesome.
Oh, yeah, crossbows and stuff, right?
Yeah, that was it. Crossbows. Yeah. So it's just, like, I think if you can do these things, you can do it the right way. You can make these points, and I think they can be made in games if you want to do it. But just don't make them ridiculously and cram it down your throat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if there's even a point that needs to be made, though, I think it's like, well, exactly. Just have a good thing. Make a good thing.
It doesn't matter.
I loved Tomb Raider. I loved Metroid. I loved Final Fantasy VI, where like the main plot like centered around a female character, and it's Horizon Zero Dawn. That thing did gangbusters.
And those games weren't made to make a point. They were just made.
Yeah, it was just, hey, here's a cool universe. The main character just happens to be female, but the story doesn't revolve around the femaleness of it, or the female wanting to be more like a man, or
Yeah,
it's like it's a cool thing, and the character is awesome and well written, and there you go.
Yep. Get on with it.
Yeah.
Make the games, enjoy the games, and leave it at that. Yeah, that's what I think. But
or burn in hell.
Yeah. Hey, hello. Well, that was fun. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. We talked about RagTag. We talked about Battle Fist. The teeth of Angmar. GO2. We talked about GO2 a little bit and how that's going and all that. And and then we had our... We ourselves got on our little miniature soapboxes and ranted a little bit about Sekiro and Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh yeah.
Because we're toxic individuals, I guess.
Yeah. And that's it then. We'll have to do this again soon then.
I think so. and yeah, follow WindyBeard on Twitch, and where are we gonna put this for? I think we just slap it on both of our YouTubes or something, and
yeah, we can do that. Yeah, find out some other places
anywhere that will have us.
Yeah, exactly. For however long they'll have us, I don't know.
Yeah,
but we'll see. Yeah.
Hello, dear listener and viewer, wherever you may be.
We're watching you.
Oh dear.
Cool. Right. Are we still recording?
We are. I can hit stop now.
Cool. Nice.